following announcement has been paid for by Wild Games Productions.
Hi, this is Malcolm and
Karen
from House of Tradies, and you're listening to Roll for Initiative.
My fellow Americans.
This is Max Headroom, and what you're about to witness is one of the most sinister-sounding intros to a trailer.
Little roller up along first, behind the bag, it gets through Buckner, here comes Knight, and the Mets win it!
This is the Roll for Initiative podcast, where 1E is the place to be.
Volume 5, Issue 175, Roll for Initiative. Vince sitting alongside Nick.
Hello, everybody.
Matthew.
Hello, everyone.
And Sal.
Hello.
We are back with another show this week. Strange things happening in the studios. Matt's still on his Matt Headroom monitor over there.
Yeah.
I'm in my safe space.
Yeah. Safe space. Boo-hoo. The goblins have been doing a good job protecting us.
Yeah, just heard a few of them.
That was a couple goblins in the background. You are correct.
Sounded like kobolds.
No, they got fired. And as we know, the return of Blackstone was back last week.
Yes,
indeed. Actually, the previous week, Blackstone. He finally is making his earning his paycheck, I should say.
Yeah, he's finally earning his pay. Yes.
A couple people were commenting on forums saying he sounds a lot like Nick.
He was on developmental for a while, so
I don't know what they're talking about.
He was jobbing until we could find a new angle for him.
Yes.
Anyway.
That's such a mess.
Yeah, that was. Anyway. We do have a special guest with us tonight. He is from Guerrilla Games. His name is Jeff Saidek. And he's going
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. Great to be here.
Awesome. He's going to be talking tonight and being our special guest. What did I do now?
Geez.
I have just received a message, and I quote, HR wants to know if Jeff has signed the injury waiver and non-disclosure agreement.
Not again.
Jeff?
Well, I used to work in a rock climbing gym, so I know all about that stuff. And I know I can sue you anyway, even if you guys kill me. Well, I can't sue you if you kill me, but I think my estate can.
Oh.
Oh.
Well then, move along.
Moving along. Well, HR is satisfied.
Yeah, HR is satisfied. Great. So, Jeff, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, your company, and what you do?
Well, I'm a game designer, and I have designed and published most people will know me most for Lifeboat, Who Would Win, Battle Stations. I've also done some smaller games, World Conquerors, Monster Derby, and in earlier incarnation when I was working for GameSmiths, I did Pantheon, Total War, Robotanks, Caesar, and the first ever collectible dice game, Throwing Stones, back in the 90s.
Yep.
So that's sort of where I come from and what I do, and the main reason I publish my own games is because I am too chicken to go out and beg a publisher to publish my games, and it's worked out okay for up until now. But I would really like to move up into the next level where I can make some bigger and more exciting games and get out of paper and into plastic.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Very cool.
And you know what? That's the first time I've ever heard anybody actually just come out and tell it, like it is, as opposed to, well, I want to give back to the community. And what I really like, I like keeping things affordable for gamers.
So you're trying to say they're liars, Sal?
A little bit, tiny bit. Not saying all of them.
No. Apparently,
But
Jeff is
that's
one of
the
the
first
good
time
ones.
I've heard somebody come out and be truthful and be like, because I'm too afraid to do it.
Yeah. And here's the funny part is that I then after I published my own games, and then I realized, instead of selling it to one publisher, I got to go sell it to 1,000 people. So I'm still have to sell my games. So it's not a good strategy. I don't recommend it.
What are you going to do? You'll try.
Yeah.
We'll help you out. No problem.
Good, thanks.
Rule number one in being in the gaming industry, don't quit your day job. It's one thing I've heard from everybody. So
obviously you're on our show, so you've listened before and or have played first edition sometime in your life. Am I correct?
First edition Dungeons and Dragons, the Advanced Player's Handbook, was the most influential book in my life.
Oh, really? Do elaborate on that.
Well, it was 1978, maybe 1979, and the Dungeon Master's Guide hadn't even come out yet. That's how new it was, and I was not a gamer before that. And then my brother turned me on to a friend of mine who had this, and he brought it over, and it was just like turning on the light. And all of a sudden, instead of groping in the dark and pointing at people and saying, "Oh, well, bang, bang, I got you. No, I got you," suddenly there's rules to make believe that really just it crystallized for me, and from that time forward, it really being in games and game design and playing games was just that's what it was for me, and AD&D, I think, really, it happened to be the thing that brought me in, but I think it was no coincidence that was the first, and that was in many ways the best.
Absolutely, it is the best.
You never forget your first love.
Yes.
Nick had to bring it there.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, everybody comes into role-playing from their first role-playing experience, and then they compare all other things after that to that role-playing experience.
Yeah.
And so I because I design games, I sort of did the disservice to a friend of mine of teaching him role-playing with my own role-playing game. And so now he compares everything to that game, which is kind of weird. It's like growing up with an accent sort of thing, because everybody in your family speaks Swahili.
Wow.
Awesome.
It's funny, like, even now, we've all been gaming for, at minimum, 10 years, let's say, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, like I said, at minimum. And we all have tried other games. We've tried various systems. And if something, even if it's different and it's better, we think it's cooler, or this mechanic is so much better, we still go, oh, wow, you don't have hit points in this one. It's a little weird. Or,
right.
Oh, no saving throws. All right. And it's getting your brain around it. And not because we can't, it's just because that's what's been ingrained with us the first time.
Right.
That's how we figured out gaming. That's how we grew up on gaming. So when things change and you're like, okay, this is good, and it's not a bad system or whatever the deal is, but you still have to wrap your brain around it not being D&D, the original.
Right, not being your native language.
Right, exactly.
Really?
You know what, Vince? I'm trying to contribute. I'm trying to be helpful. I'm trying to be helpful here.
Oh,
hold on.
You did sound.
I have a message.
Terrific.
And I quote, "We here at RFI do appreciate everyone for playing their games and being waxing and waning all nostalgic, but everything doesn't need to be compared to your first time. You don't do that in relationships.
Wow.
You shouldn't do that in games."
I do.
Oh, I do.
Yeah. It's the first thing I do when I meet a girl. I said, you know what? You are nothing like the first girl I ever dated.
Yeah.
First thing I do, we hang out, and I'm like, you do not kiss like a 9-year-old.
Oh,
Sal, you
Come
just
on.
triggered it again.
wait, and HR ain't going to say anything about that one.
We just named him.
They are currently the lawyers, the legal department is working overtime between the Jeff's paperwork and that current comment.
Yeah.
It's currently in a tizzy over here.
Thanks, Sal.
In his defense, I just want to say 9 is old for a goat.
Oh, he better.
Oh, here it comes.
Yeah. And I quote,
Oh, jeez.
"All references to interspecies relationships are not encouraged here on RFI. Also, we do not encourage the mixing of massive age gaps, unless it involves an elf and an adult human, at which point we all know elves tend to be cradle robbers in the grand scheme of things.
All I was saying was I was 9 when I had my first kiss. That's all. That's all.
All right,
Wow, they
Sal.
were quick.
Yeah. We need to keep this, family rated, Sal, right?
I was telling a heartfelt story about my first kiss with a neighbor whose name I won't do for legal reasons, but and we were at a tender age of 9, and that's all, and I compare other relationships to that. That's all. It actually all ties in very nicely, and you guys brought it to the dark place. I'm staying out of the dark place. You guys are bringing it there.
Oh, okay. Well,
all right, Sal the Goblin.
Oh, jeez.
Now you got to be right now.
Anyway, let's move on. And Nick, do we have any stars this week?
Yes, we do have stars this week.
Great.
And just, again, remind everybody, if you want to give us a review and comments on Roll for Initiative, go over to iTunes and to your iTunes store, type in Roll for Initiative, and just follow the links from there, and you can give us reviews on the show.
And that is best for business.
It is.
Yes,
And Vince will give you $1 if you give us 5-star reviews.
Come on now.
See what you did?
Sal, man.
And I quote, any hints at bribery for 5-star reviews is not condoned by us here at Roll for
Wait a
Initiative.
minute. Okay. So
Any financial contributions are strictly there by DM Vince and DM Vince alone and not coming out of the RFI budget.
Ooh.
Wow, I'm not buying 5 stars. Shut up, higher-ups.
So wait a minute. So let me get this straight. So every other podcast can say, if you put them on, we'll read them. That's not a bribe, just so people can hear their names on the internet? Who
It's
cares?
not monetary compensation.
No.
Oh, Vince is just paying
We do
for
not
their...
believe in payola here at RFI.
How about we
think-
give
I think
experience
that's a mistake.
points?
And that means Jeff's only here because Vince has compromising pictures of him.
What?
We were.
Do sketches count?
Yes,
Hey,
yes they do.
We promised each of us not to mention all that, But now,
Oil paintings account
Nick,
as
can
well.
we get on with the stars before we get dinged again?
yeah, let's do that. So we have a review, 5 stars from Jimmy the Larson. And he says, great cast, fun shows. And I go on, and he says, I enjoy the show and the effort these guys put into leading the way for the OSR podcasts. This show has spawned various other shows from this very show by the main host, DM Vince, and are still going strong to this day. Sure, this show has had its change of co-hosts and had better shows than other ones, but I look at it this way. It's free. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
It's something...
And worth it at twice the price.
There you go. It's something to listen to while driving to work, working out, or walking the dog. Who works out? DM Vince keeps the show going each week and maintains strict control of the show, and his passion shows.
Okay.
It got you snowed.
Yeah.
DM Matt is quiet at times, but when he speaks, he has a lot of value to add. DM Nick has roots so deep in the hobby, it's like he was born with a DMG and a silver D20 in his mouth.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow, he is talking about your date life.
Hey.
Oh, come on, Sal.
Jason was good when he was around and always had the answer when needed. DM Will was excellent, had passion, and always spoke his mind. That's for sure. Chad was like Jason, just with another name. Now they have Sal, from which I could only speculate was a former wrestling superstar in the 1990s and adds a lot to the show with valuable input whenever he speaks. Who knew wrestlers play D&D? Awesome. Thanks, guys.
So apparently he drinks during the show.
Oh, does it say that? No.
No, I can infer that, though. I can only guess.
Yes. Yes.
Wait, Sal was a wrestler?
Who?
Sal?
Sal?
No.
No. He wasn't Big Sal or anything.
It was not. It was never that.
Not full-blooded Italian either, so.
Oh.
Now, I know we should be getting a ding because HR does not want to talk about the other stuff.
No.
I'm sure they will be. Oh, thanks, Al.
Because nobody wants to talk about that.
They're blowing up my phone today.
I guess.
And I quote, "This is a first edition AD&D podcast. Any references to any sorts of other sports and or entertainment will not be tolerated."
Oh, well, you know what? They're just like everybody else who plays AD&D. They can't understand the wrestling and brawling rules. Wrestling, hello? I mean, come on. It kind of fits.
Yes, more like you're grappling with the grappling and brawling rules.
I'm
And you know
grappling,
what?
Figure
And
it out.
For how long has it been?
with HR right now.
How long has it been since those rules came out and people still have questions about it?
Oh, jeez.
How it's ridiculous.
1977, 78, right around there. Yeah.
Yeah, we even did a show on it.
We did a
years
couple
ago.
shows on
And
various
it
topics
was-
on it.
And I still don't use them.
Most people don't.
Yeah.
Roll the hit. You punch them, great. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, he's grappling you. Make a strength check. Go.
There you go. Go.
Yep.
And Jason, even back in the day, broke it down so you can understand it. And even he was like, I'm not going to use this.
Yeah. Because it didn't stick.
No,
Sure.
it's just too much work.
Yeah, that and psionics, that's just a whole other thing.
Jeff, I have a question for you. Since you're the guest.
He says it like it's a bad thing.
Well, no. Well, you know, obviously the guy's been lassoed here for a reason. So.
Shh. We don't condone kidnapping.
No.
We don't admit to it anyway. That's a smart way. Anyway, so when you played, what was your style? Were you more thief? Were you more magic user? Were you the fighter guy? Were you always the barbarian? Like that sort of deal?
I wanted to be a thief. Well, I would do a thief magic user, and then cleric thief magic user, because that way you get all the spells and
you were
and
that
stuff.
guy. Oh,
Yeah, I was that guy.
multi-class guy.
But yeah, which is just terrible because from a role playing standpoint, I was such a power munchkin in those days that it was.
Who was it though?
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was how you played, and then later on, getting into people were playing characters that are interesting. Oh, well, why would you be interesting when you could do these three other things and get so many more little special things?
So, Jeff, I have to say I wasn't the only one when they got deities and demigods and like, oh, gods have hit points? Well, let's go kill Odin.
Yeah, that was great. I still have the original deities and demigods, but my brother and I colored in it, so it was.
Oh my god!
Why did everybody do that?
I know everybody.
They all colored that book.
Yes, you're right.
Because it was bitchin'.
Yeah. What, like, did you have the Lovecraft one with all the Melnibone and the?
Yes.
Yeah. Everybody colored it.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't have that edition. I had the one that was later on when they cut all that out. But a few years back, I was hell-bent and determined when I went to Origins or Gen Con, I was going to get a copy with the Cthulhu and Melnibonian mythos in it.
Yeah.
And I found one. It was like for $45. And I'm like, I'm going through it. I'm like, dude wrote in it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like,
I've bought three copies of it off because I have my original with the Melnibone stuff in it, and I bought three other copies, not all at the same time, and each one of them were colored. I got them now. I got one for $9. I got one for $11, and I think I got the other one for I think it was $13. But each time, and it was like some writing. I'm like, okay, I can always erase it. Every freaking one was colored.
Oh my god!
And I'm like, why would you do this? And, and it became a joke, and I just gave them out to people because you didn't do anything else. Not the Monster Manual, not the Fiend Folio, but
it was the deities and demigods.
Yeah. Our Monster Manual got colored. We colored the Monster Manual.
Oh, okay. At least you committed to it.
Yeah.
Sal, be thankful that you only got coloring and didn't get the player's handbook that I bought back in 2010 that had the Klan symbols and Nazi symbols on the inside. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, I was telling you guys way back in Volume 2 when I was telling you guys about that. I had to send that one back. The guy's like, there's no writing. It's perfect. I'm like, dude, page 7, page 15, page 16. I sent him pictures. He goes, "Oh, I'm sorry. It was donated to me." I'm like, "Yeah, sure it was.
Right.
Take your Nazi book back, pal."
Yeah.
Your propaganda.
Yes.
Anyway, let's head right into our first segment of the night for Table Manners.
Typical. Of all the evil creatures in the world, I'd like to find one with table manners.
What, are you kidding me? I spent years cultivating the worst table manners on the planet.
Table manners.
All right, everybody, we're going to go into table manners here, and it was a pretty good segue. Things not to talk about or do at the table.
Very planned.
Yes, very much planned. So, and I think we've all experienced this one time or another, either with a gaming group that we've had for a long time, or even at a convention. I think we've experienced a lot of this stuff at cons because we don't know these people. They come from all walks of life and all over the place. So, but what are some things that you just don't bring to the game table that you just feel like it makes everybody uncomfortable, and they're just it just makes it weird for everybody, or downright offensive maybe. So I don't know. Let's kick it off.
Stale potato chips. That's number one.
Stale that's the deal killer right there.
Right. You're out of my group if you do that. You're gone.
Yes,
your
gone.
non-gaming girlfriend.
Yes. Your character's dead. Leave the table. You kill Blackleaf, you bastard.
Yeah.
Or if you have your gaming significant other and you decide to use the role-playing session as therapy.
Oh, okay. Well, let's start right on into it, Matt.
Yeah.
Yes. I fortunately have avoided most of the typical do not do tropes just because of the groups I tend to keep, and I don't really play convention RPGs. Mm-hmm. I prefer to take my antisocial behavior in competitive games. So, but at the table, I've experienced where the DM is really trying to prove his own self-worth with his game. And when you start doing things he doesn't like, it becomes that very much us against them DM.
Well, are you talking like as a DM, like trying to railroad you to something? Or
we're talking railroad, and to the point where he's dropping like Acme anvils on top of our heads to keep us where we're going. To the point where some players actually left the table and said, "We're just going to play in our sandbox over here." And we went off to another part of the house. Weren't even at the table anymore.
Oh wow!
Where this became such a large deal that we weren't cooperating with the story he had planned.
Yeah. You know what? I have to admit, when I was years ago, when I was really being a DM in my game, I made that mistake. I did something like that as a DM, where we were doing the Slave Lords series, and according to the adventure at the time, it's like everybody had to be captured at one point by the Slave Lords, right?
Yep.
If you're familiar with that particular set of modules. So I pretty much railroaded the party into getting captured, even though my friend Jeff tried everything in his power for his character to get out of getting captured. But yeah, I learned a lesson around that. It's like it's bad for everybody. So yeah, I learned from that. I did.
Right. For me, the biggest takeaway is remember why you are at a gaming table. Yeah. To have fun. Mm-hmm. It may not always necessarily be doing the adventure the DM had planned out. If everyone's gaming it as around the table having fun, you're doing it right. And sometimes you could even have those sidetrack conversations to meet that are like off topic. But if everyone's engaged in it and having fun, who cares?
Yeah.
So we don't get quite as deep in the adventure.
When the DM comes in with that ego, you're in trouble for it. And if it's not a friend of yours, you're kind of just stuck with it. Yeah. But every NPC has to one-up the players.
Oh, you're talking like Mary Sue NPCs?
Right. Yeah. Or even if Matt comes in and he gives his PC throws me a zinger, and it makes the NPC kind of look dumb. But Matt did it it was all organic, and it was, well worth it, or, something that happened, and it was a natural thing. And then the NPC has to come back and somehow belittle Matt, because the DM has to show that this NPC's a badass.
Right.
Or he has to show that this part of the game is got to run this way, and you guys are so underpowered that you guys have no chance. And even if you threw out a zinger and you mocked him a little bit, we can't have that. He's got to come and put the squash on you now, because you're automatically have to be subservient in the game. And then you realize at that point you're beat, because you're not getting over at all with anybody that this DM is going to throw at you. You guys are just at that point you're just done.
Right.
Well,
or when
you want to have a world where you can't throw a zinger at maybe the king of an evil kingdom and get away with it.
Right.
But if there's some tavern wench that you just throw a line at, and then it turns out that she's got to have all the power too, then it makes the players feel like they're not in a real world. It makes them feel like they're just under the thumb of this DM.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it is, and it's one of the, like you said, if it's not the king, you're at a bar and this Gaston guy who shows up and says something, and Matt says something else that's just witty. Now, I got to obviously have to go over and crush Matt, because it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, or when you have the DM put his own player character as an NPC in your party.
Oh, even worse.
Yes, at that point it becomes the NPC show, and everyone else is the sidekick.
Yeah.
That's something else that needs to just be avoided. If you have a personal investment in a character and you think, hey, this character would be great in this adventure, you should be playing that character, not DMing the adventure.
Yeah. If you can swing that, if that player character can show up and either A, offer the help, or B, maybe his point is to be the antithesis of those PCs for now. Again, like when we discussed with the, you play street level games, you don't want to run into Batman all the time. So you see Batman, you never talk with him, that sort of thing. And that's how that PC should be handled.
Well, you can talk to Batman, just a quick little,
Right, but that's what I'm saying. It's a quick little blurb where the PC shows up and then, okay, here's my help or here's my hindrance, and now I'm out.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Quick one-liner by Batman, he's gone.
Right. Yeah.
The NPC shouldn't be dominating the campaign. It should be the players that are the focal point of the campaign, with the NPCs interacting with the players and not vice versa.
It's hard enough for the DM not to dominate because he's controlling literally everything else in the universe. But for him to throw a character in there also, it's just going to be hard for him not to have it be all about him.
Yeah.
Right.
Another thing, such a huge distraction, and unless you're going electronic, everybody hates having phones and tablets at the table unless you're okay as a DM and doing the electronics thing.
You're right.
But you always get the crossover, the leakage of the one in the middle of the game. Oh my God, dude, look at this lolcats thing. Look at the cat. Oh my God, watch this cat. Oh my God, dude, look at this. The baby goat falls asleep. Oh my God. And it's now you've totally been derailed.
Yeah. I've seen that too. It's more often now because, with iPhones and tablets and stuff like that, like you said, they're so prevalent.
Everybody's got an app for it. Everybody's got their character sheet there. That way, in case I forget it, no, it's on my phone. Terrific. And again, no issue with that. But now
it's great for sending secret messages too, because back in the old days when you'd pass a sheet of paper to somebody folded up, all the eyes on the table are on that paper, and then the guy opens it up and he reads it and he says, "Okay, I pull my sword out," and everybody else says, "Okay, we're gonna do something."
Yeah, in that case, it becomes a pretty useful tool. I totally agree on that.
But then again, now you're still also stuck with, all right, Mike. So I'm looking at you. What are you doing? We just set up this whole scene with these drow came in, and he's like, "Wait, what happened?" Okay, yeah. I'm just gonna fire a crossbow. Really? Oh, okay. Because he's texting his girlfriend while, or his wife or whoever else he's trying to talk to at that point. And, now you thought he was talking to you the whole time because he's sending you text messages. So you're like, all right, great, he's talking to me. And then you look up and you're like, okay, so now you're surrounded. What do you do? Oh, I fire my crossbow bolt. Really? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, wait, what? What? It's a new game.
Speaking of distractions, and I quote, Matt, while we appreciate you've had crappy DMs in the past, this segment was actually about distractions outside of the gaming, not just things that distract your characters. So please keep that in mind for future reference.
They're coming down on Matt pretty hard, too.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, so they are working overtime.
I thought Matt was your boy.
I did, too. I think gave me this little safe space, but no, apparently, all right. But yeah.
Nobody's safe, Matt. Nobody's safe.
No, apparently. Who can you trust if you can't trust the higher-ups? But yeah, so it looks like we're really concerned with the out-of-game distractions, like you guys were just discussing, the phones and the constant dingings. Like if I ever hear an iChat ding again, I will probably twitch and go into convulsions.
Just don't dive under the table, Matt.
Okay, kind of going along with that. Yeah, I guess going along with that kind of vein is like where you're talking about outside distractions or annoyances.
Nick,
is when it's when you have significant others maybe.
Did you just call Nick an outside annoyance?
No, I was trying to say something. It fit in just perfectly. So
no, he's an inside annoyance, right?
Yeah, definitely. No, like
thanks.
I know personally. I know personally when I'm sitting here and I'm playing a game in my town, I don't have a problem because we're all okay. I'm in Texas, and this usually comes up a lot in Texas politics, and that's always a game killer. Because people have their opinions, people like to argue.
Yeah.
Chances are, if I'm sitting at the table and I hear someone say, "Oh my God, did you hear what Obama did last night?" I'm like, "Shut up! Don't even continue with that." While we're in Texas, and I'm probably going to agree with whatever they said at the point in time, there could be that 5% that's not going to agree, and that's going to kill some character. Sorry, some player, not the character.
Right.
Well, it probably will kill the character at that point in the game. So that's definitely something you can't talk about unless you really know the people well.
It doesn't matter. Even if you agree, it's still so outside the realm of what you're doing in the game that it's not a good thing. I mean, I think when you show up to the table, it might be fun to say, "Hey, did you see the game yesterday about whatever sports things happened?" But once you're in the middle of the game, and this goes back to the guy who's checking his phone and says, "Oh, my fantasy guy just got an extra 8 points or whatever." And then it can derail the whole game because it's hard to be deep into the dungeon when there's, the Patriots losing in the playoffs.
Right.
A second thing that I've seen, and only once in all the years I've been DMing, is in the middle of a game, two players started arguing because the other dude did not go to his church that Sunday.
Wow.
And that's a religious thing. But I just, out of nowhere, he's just like, "Dude, I just wondering, man, I invited you to my church, and how come you didn't show up?" While going to church is important, yes, to most people, it's important to me, yes. Yeah. Not everyone wants to go. And bringing it up in the middle of a dungeon crawl is the wrong place.
Yeah.
That's another thing. And we have, I know in my gaming group, we have a very diverse group of people when it comes to personal beliefs. My best friend, Jeff, he's an atheist. So is his son. But Frank and Sherry, they're Baptists. So, and I'm a Roman Catholic. We got everybody in the. I'm surprised we don't have an actual practicing Druid in our real world group. But suffice to say, we don't talk about that sort of thing because it's such a non-issue. Because I guess the fact is that we respect each other's own personal beliefs and we don't dig into that stuff. So. I guess it kind of goes in that other show that we were talking about, the dark days of D&D, but how some people just couldn't.
They can't separate that.
Yeah, they can't separate. Exactly.
See, now I've actually witnessed this, and I was impressed with it. There was a guy in a game who played a very misogynistic character.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the only reason he got away with it is because at a game, this dude was the nicest guy on the planet. And he decided to play something different, shake it up, and he played a slave trading misogynist. And there was two girls actually in this tabletop game, and the one loved it. The one thought it was hysterical, and she was, just because it was a character and it wasn't real. The other girl was so offended in game now, but you could tell how the butt hurt leaked out of game. You know what I mean? Because she just, everything he said, she just had snark coming back, and even if it was a good idea, he's like, why don't we use the two women, show off your goods, and like that sort of thing. And it was one of those things where he never crossed a line, but everything he said was just horrible. Like it was.
She took it.
He was
offensive
a male
every time.
Oh, she was offended by everything this guy said, and he was basically a male from the 40s. You know what I mean? Like he just had that attitude.
But that was his character, like you said.
And it was right. And he played this rough and tumble, beardy character, and that's how it came out. And it was great. Everybody had a great time except her, and she wound up dropping out. And the point was, everybody was like, oh, who cares? Because honestly, this dude is not like that, at all, in the least. And the fact that he was just playing a character, and the fact that the other girl at the game was like, this is one of the funniest things I've ever been with. And she had no problem with it. So we knew, okay, look, there's obviously you don't want to be around that. Fine, that's up to you. That's your choice. But again, you're letting your out of game stuff hurt you in game. And now it's like, well, it's just a game. It's not worth going through all this drama and all this. Okay, that's up to you. But to me, that's something, again, that you come into a game, understand, we're all friends here. Nobody, we all knew each other. Like, we all know who each other are. As a matter of fact, she's gamed with him in a LARP and other stuff. And it was just one of those things where it's like, this was just kind of a moment to have your little tantrum, I think.
Right.
Has she gamed with him since?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, so she sounds like she got over it.
Oh, she did get over it. It was completely over it. And like I said, I think this was she showed up with it in mind of, I need a little more attention than I was getting, and she didn't like the attention she started getting.
Okay.
In game, and then it crawled into an out of game place where it shouldn't have.
Okay. Yeah, I guess it's almost like a balancing act. I mean, you want to play your character a certain way because that's how they are, and yet, you might have maybe a couple of people who might be offended how your character is, but they also have to keep in mind it's just your character. Don't take it personal. It's like when some person they got save or die and their character dies and they got all up in a tizzy. It's like, it's okay.
Blackleaf, no.
Yeah, exactly. It's just your character, man. It's okay. Roll up another one.
But now also on the same side of that coin, I feel racism, things like misogyny, that sort of stuff. While it's a fantasy world. And maybe you come across somebody goes, oh, you filthy dwarf. Oh, you disgusting gnome. Oh, you dirty drow. Anything like that. We deal enough with it in the real world where, as a DM, I won't make that the pivotal point of a game session.
Right.
You throw it in, okay, great. You have to handle that. Let's see, you guys need to get supplies. This guy is some sort of... Oops, excuse me.
Whoa.
Sorry.
Whoa.
This guy's some sort of a racist.
Yeah, we'll just edit that out.
Yeah, so you got to deal with that because that's just a problem. But I know dealing with that every day on the news, getting bombarded by that stuff. Who needs that in your fantasy game?
You know what? And I think you just touched on something there, Sal. And that's my number one pet peeve when it comes to a game is when a DM or referee, wherever you want to call him, tries to make his own socio-political agenda come across in a game. I hate that with a passion of a million white hot burning suns. It's like his game world becomes his own little social experiment, and he's going to have the player characters come across these, social conundrums and these, And I've seen this all the time on forums and stuff, and people talk about this. And I mean, for some people, they like that. They like, but to me, no.
The game is rigged, though, because when you set up a situation where, should you do the right thing or the wrong thing? And if I'm the DM and I'm creating the world, then the right thing is going to be what I think is the right thing. So you're not really definitively proving that capitalism is better than communism or whatever, or racism is wrong.
Right, but there are some DMs like I've seen this example a lot when it comes to stuff like this, like the whole, are orcs or hobgoblins or whatever, are they inherently evil? It's like maybe you come across this band of orcs and you get in a battle with them, but the only orcs that are left are the children. What do? Do you kill the young orcs, or do you take them away? What do you do? It's like,
slaughter them. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, exactly. And then the DM might say, "Oh no, that's an evil act." They're like, "Wait a minute, they're orcs."
No, it's not an evil act. Too bad.
Yeah,
I would just slaughter them. That's just cheap labor.
Yeah, and then someone says, "Oh, you're just a bunch of murder hobos." Well, you know what? The early days of D&D, we were all a bunch of murder hobos. Fine, get over it.
But did you
I just, for me,
you guys realize, if you watch TV, okay, and we've all watched G.I. Joe, we've all seen all these shows where guys are shooting back and forth at each other and nobody can get hit.
Right.
Do that on purpose.
You know who can get killed and shot and stabbed on TV and not have an issue? Orcs, aliens, anything that isn't human can be destroyed outright on TV, as dirty and nasty as we want to make it.
Right.
Yeah.
So
that's
that's exactly what you come across in this game, because they were presented as the bad guys.
Yeah.
So now, if you want to throw in that moral dilemma of, we find a baby orc, can you raise it to be a good orc, a paladin? Sure, maybe. Who knows? But now, maybe that's your whole game. You want to raise that campaign around that. Great, terrific. That's cool. You can do that one time. If you submerge your characters into that every time, where you hit them with the same dilemmas of wow, even chaos is good, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I hate. I hate that more than anything. Is that using the term I'm kind of looking and taking the postmodern ideas that we have and you're throwing them into the game. It just doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
I play D&D to get away from all this crap that we have to deal with in the real world. It's bad. It's bad enough that you want to try to bring it into a fantasy game. I'm like, come on. I'm like, no.
Well, there are people that are going to love that dilemma and love role playing that, and they just got to know not to play that with you. You get. That's why the people that you're playing the game with are more important than the system or the rules.
Right.
It's what are we all about?
And you know what? There are some systems where you can get into those moral and ethical dilemmas, like Call of Cthulhu. I think you could do that with. Marvel superheroes more than likely. And I think one of the things that's different from those games like D&D is D&D, you have an alignment system. So, and there's some other games that don't. So you can really get into those all different, levels of black, white, and gray in the middle. While D&D, I like to have my orcs. They're flipping evil, man. There's no gray area. That's how I like to do my game. So I don't know.
Look at the whole Dritz thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Why that was so wildly successful? Because it happened once. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't something that, we're following Dritz. It's not. There isn't a band of drow who are all decided to be good guys.
Right.
It was a once in a lifetime thing, maybe. Maybe twice. You know what I mean? Like it's just one of those things that it's a great idea. It's a trope now. It's actually a huge trope now to go against the grain. But if you do that every time, you lose the special of it. So
yeah, the misunderstood emo drow.
Right. If you bring that to the table every time, you're gonna bore the players, because now those dilemmas aren't so hard to make the third, fourth time around.
Right.
So I definitely think if you're going to do that for a once in a while thing, great. That'll probably spice up a lot of stuff. That's a great idea to bring to the table. However, don't rely on that as just keeping your because basically what it does is just keeps your players clueless. Yeah. You know, we don't know, are we the good guys or are they the good guys? Maybe we're the bad guys for coming in this dungeon and killing them. They live here. You know, you're going to do that how many times? Can you go through that?
Yeah, it just doesn't make the game fun for everybody. If you're the DM who has a socio-political agenda and you keep on bashing the players' heads over with this is what's right and wrong, bang, bang, bang. No, that's not fun. Not every time. Right. And like I said, I think there's some systems, though, I think can lend to that more type of gameplay than others. I don't know. For me, D&D, maybe sometimes, like you said, they're Sal, but I don't know. It's not my deal. Orcs are evil. Kill them.
So basically,
D&D harkens back to, you want your D&D to harken back to that simpler time when it was more black and white. Mm-hmm. We are good adventurers and we are going out to slaughter evil things.
Yeah, I mean, because you know what, we have, like I said, we have enough moral ambiguity in the real world as it is. Yeah, you know, I want to escape from all that crap.
Right. And I think that's one of the things that makes D&D great is that you can explore all of those different topics. You can have that black and white game. You can have that morally ambiguous game if you want. You can do all of that, and that flexibility is great. But when you have that flexibility and that variety, you get a variety of players, and everyone may be looking for something different. And sometimes you may have a group that, player-wise, they're great people, but just what they want out of the game isn't going to mesh.
Okay, now let me ask you guys a question. And Jeff, this is not a snipe at you at all, I promise.
Okay, good.
As a player,
it's a snipe. No,
it's really not. Because this is one of the things I thought about as a player coming to a table, especially if I'm going to play with people like from the game store, where they do the local meetups, and they say, "Okay, I'm going to go play with these people I've never played with before," and the guy says, "Okay, we're playing 3-5. So what do you want to do?" And I sit down and I go, well, I've always wanted to play this Super Ninja Psionicist Scuba Diver Brain Surgeon.
Right.
And I have the rules right here. Like, I don't know. Like, as a player, let me ask you guys, do you think that doing that is a little too much? Because it's not something you'd ever play in your own home game with the guys, or, you know, it's not something you would do normally? Do you think doing that is like kind of and you know, I'm holding up air quotes, and you know, I don't know if you have to bleep me or anything. Do you think that's a dick move?
Well, if you're coming into a situation where they say, "Hey, do what you want," then I think that's an invitation to do what you want. If right. they're coming in, they say, "Well, what do you want to play?" Then that's different. If you say, "I want to play this Ninja Diver neurosurgeon," whatever, then the guy might say, "Oh, hold on. I was thinking more like you want to be a paladin." You know,
you can play a paladin of like a neutral god or something.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. By the way, back to good and evil and neutral. After I was in AD&D, I got the books for the earlier books, and they had Law and Chaos. And that makes a lot more sense to me from a religion standpoint, because it's hard to imagine a nice group of church-going evil people going and being evil every week at their church and donating properly to the Church of Chaos and Evil. It just seems odd, which is where if you had instead a group that's into chaos, you say, "Oh, that's about individual freedom," and law, that's about order. So it seems like those two can oppose each other and both think they're good, rather than with a straight face standing up and preaching at the pulpit saying, "Everybody be chaotic and evil, and make sure you wipe your feet before you walk into the church." But sorry, I derailed it a bit. We were talking about...
No. That's fine, because that's, again, something... Actually, it's funny because I agree with that 100%. That was the way I went way back in the day of, you know, instead of the whole good and evil, it was law and chaos. Those were always my two... It's the easiest way to kind of just give a little bit more elbow room.
Yeah.
And I always stuck to that from way back when we were younger, and I figured that out. So yeah, that was Agree with you 100% on that.
Well, good. I wanted to also bring up about something to bring to the table is when people bring drugs to the table, I think that is a real downer. And I have, in my life, I'm straight edge. And so I'm really against drugs and alcohol. And it was only in my most recent group where people started drinking a few beers at the table, and I saw, people can have a few beers over the course of a 6-hour session, and this is not a drug fest. Yeah. And so it's helped me in my personal life get used to the fact that some people recreationally drink, and it's not a big deal. Mm-hmm. But when somebody would show up with a bottle of Jack Daniels and line up shots, then you're sort of crossing over the line from... are we playing a game or are we drinking?
I'm usually thinking, are we going to a convention? Yeah. And I see that. It's like, okay, cool. That's what I pack.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like in my home game, we all are, we always have a couple of drinks or so with our, beer, or wine. Nothing, and that's typical of us. And it never detracts from the game. But if you're talking like drugs, like smoking a little Mary Jane or something like that.
Mary Jane.
Yeah, one of those marijuana cigarettes.
And what's funny, like I've never done drugs in my life. I've hung out with stoners for a long time.
Yeah, me too.
And nobody ever come to, just because I don't smoke, I don't do anything, so they wouldn't do anything at the table. But I've had players show up who were baked out of their heads, and either they focused and they functioned, or they didn't at all, and we got rid of them.
Yeah.
Right.
That was, and it was at that point you knew who you dealt with and who you didn't want to deal with.
I don't think I've ever recalled in my entire time of gaming, at least knowing anybody who was like stoned. Oh, jeez.
Yep. We have a message, and I quote, "We here at Wild Games Productions encourage a very drug-free, sober gaming environment, and we highly encourage all to institute a wellness policy for their home gaming group."
The wellness policy.
Because that is best for business.
No. They have just crossed the line. They have gone beyond the pale.
It was your hipster slang that got him, Nick.
Yeah, the marijuana cigarettes.
Wow, they must be mad at Nick now.
Yes.
They're hot at Nick.
Nick. And I quote, "Nick, while we do understand that there are illegal substances in the world and you may be associating with such people, we would encourage you not to bring it up on the show to prevent any potential lawsuits. Last thing we want to have is a reefer madness situation with our podcast."
Hey, I never said I associate with those sort of people. I just said I don't think I ever seen anybody baked or stoned at my gaming table. And if they were, I didn't know about it.
Well, you know all the lingo, so you're a little knowledgeable on
that darn internet. I tell you, I think
we're just gonna have
too much stuff.
Nick, I think we're just going to have to turn Matt's monitor off or something.
I don't know. I'm just like, now they're telling us that we can't do those sorts of things in our own personal games. I don't know. I thought I still lived in a free country.
The fact that we're implying a wellness program right there is just telling you it's going down to hell.
Yeah.
The whole thing's going right down the tube.
Oh, and you know what? They're no longer HR. I'm calling them now the evil overlords. See how they feel about that.
Wow.
So,
grinding halt.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to end the segment pretty much. And
as we all go away for our current random wellness check.
Well, I know Nick had to go see EHR last time, so I don't know what happened with that.
Yeah, I'm still in pain.
Let's just listen to these announcements, and we'll be right back with our next segment.
It certainly is a big bun. It's a very big bun. Big, fluffy bun. It's a very big, fluffy bun.
Where's the beef?
Some hamburger places give you a lot less beef on a lot of bun.
Where's the beef?
At Wendy's, we serve a hamburger we modestly call a single. And Wendy's single has more beef than the Whopper or Big Mac. At Wendy's, you get more beef and less bun.
Hey, where's the beef? I don't think there's anybody back there.
You want something better. You're Wendy's kind of people.
Are you enjoying the show you're listening to right now? Want to help support the show? Why not head over to the Patreon site, patreon.com/WGP. That's patreon.com/WGP. And help support the network for as little as $1.50 a month. That's right, $1.50 a month goes a long way. Thank you.
And now we are in the treasure chest, and this one will actually be the arts and crafts version of the treasure chest, because we will be discussing paints, particularly the paints of Blackmore. The paints of Blackmore is an object I've never actually used or heard of before today, but once I was going through Greyhawk Adventures, I found this and I was just fascinated by it. It's a set of multicolored paints that was enchanted when Blackmore was created in full power. And then when the city was in ruins, a magic user whisked away with these paints to ensure his own survival. There's 5 applications of 6 different colors of paint. And when you use these paints and paint your entire body in the color, you get some special powers. Particularly, you become a different class.
Oh.
So if you were to, say, be like a Kansas City Chiefs fan and paint yourself
Why would you do
full
that?
Yeah, exactly.
Why would you do that?
Yes, go in full red body paint.
Oh boy.
You become a level 7 fighter with an armor class of 2, a 2-handed sword +2 with 70 hit points. So if you're the lowly level thief trouncing through an area with very large monsters that want to bash your head in with giant sticks, you might want to do some red body paint and become that 7th level fighter that can hack them all down.
Wow.
Or if you want to be blue, you can be a cleric at the 7th level. You get an AC of 3, you get a footman's mace +2, 60 hit points. You even get spell casting.
Ooh,
yes. So if you have no idea of what to do, particularly, the one thing I find interesting about the cleric is, how do you determine what god you should be praying to, and why is this god
I know.
Confused by the paint? Why is he suddenly?
I got an answer for that.
Uh-oh. Yes.
Because if you look at the blue pigments, it can only go up to. Oh, wait a minute.
You get a 4th.
You can go up to 4th level. I thought, cleric.
You get 3rd. You get 3rd. No, yeah, you do get 1 4th level spell.
Because I thought the cutoff for like spells for that are not directly from your god were like 2nd or 3rd level, right?
I think it's 3rd. So yeah,
how do you get that 4th level spell?
Right.
Okay. All right. I'm with you on that. Okay. That's a weird one.
Yeah, that's a little weird. I'm like, if you're just getting like the underlings and the gatekeepers to the gods, okay, I can understand that. You trick them with some body paint.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't actually be able to trick a god with body paint.
Well, maybe you got to paint everything.
Yes, everything, and that's a sign of devotion, perhaps.
Yeah.
Ew.
Oh, look, man, I didn't make the rules. I'm just saying. And the funny part is, these paints still cost less than Games Workshop paints.
Yes. And you get more use out of it, too. Then there's green, which makes you a 7th level ranger. You get an AC 4, a longbow +3 and 55 hit points.
I've never heard of these things, but these paints before. This is awesome, though.
Yeah, it is. It's like black makes you a thief at the 7th level. AC 5, dagger +2 with 32 hit points.
Why is it got to be black? Never mind.
I was fighting it. Man.
Isn't it a little bit like profiling there? I mean, come on now.
Yeah, this is very anti-thief.
Yeah.
Yes, but then if we go white, that's when you become the paladin at 7th level. AC 1, longsword +3 at 67 hit points, which brings an interesting alignment question, because there's no alignment requirement when you go to paint yourself. So you become this paladin.
Go paint yourself.
But
Go paint yourself.
Go paint yourself. But say you're chaotic neutral.
Ugh.
Now you're a paladin. You need to be lawful good and go against your alignment.
How does that work?
Yes, well, it gets into that later. Is what happens if you don't follow your class exactly. And the last one is brown, and you could become a druid at the 7th level. AC 6, quarterstaff plus 244 hit points. But notice what you can't turn into: a magic user.
Yes. Or an assassin.
No. Or a monk.
Or a monk.
With these paints, you can use them twice.
Yeah, no magic user one. Interesting.
Yeah, there is no... Well, I guess the original person creating them was a magic user, and they thought, I don't need to paint my body to become myself.
Yeah, I'm going to get my head kicked in. I need to do these other things. That makes sense.
Or he doesn't want any competition out there.
Right. But there's a little catch here.
Holy cow. Oh. Yeah.
If you paint yourself twice within 24 hours, you die.
Nice.
Just die. No saving throw, no nothing. Die. And then after 24 hours pass, the paint wears off, and you regain 1 D12 of hit points. Which, my question is, though, if you're at a low level and you go up to like 55 hit points, and you take 50, and you take a bunch of damage to the point where even recovering that 12 takes you down to death when you figure in how much you lost. How does that work?
I think once it wears off, then you're screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, for the classes that have prime requisites or prerequisites, it will bring your ability scores up to the minimum to be that class if it's not high enough. So most characters will get a nice charisma bump if they paint themselves white. You get, when you're transformed, you have all your memories, but you now have all the skills of that class, and you also remember the skills of your previous class.
It's like almost if this was for a human, you're like instantly dual classed in a way.
Right. However, failure to adhere strictly to the limits of the assumed class will break the magic immediately. So if you're a thief and you decide I'm putting on plate mail because you were a fighter, you're no longer a thief. If you're that lawful good paladin, became that lawful good paladin, and you start doing non-lawful good things, you're no longer a paladin.
Okay, question, since I'm not really sure about this, but like now you're fighting a water elemental, okay? And he hits you with a jet stream, some sort of spray. Does the paint come off?
Apparently, I don't think it does. It says during the time it affects it can only be taken away by a remove curse.
So I guess once you body paint yourself, it just absorbs into you.
Paint.
That's cool. I like that. Very good find on this one, man. That's good.
Yeah.
I have to look this up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like this is something that would be great to have if you have like a small party where you have some gaping holes in classes, just for those instances where you need that lockpick and you don't have a thief, or you need that cleric when you're a bunch of fighters.
Hey, you over here.
Right here, strip naked, hold still while we paint you.
This is awesome for hirelings.
Yes.
No, wait. This would be perfect for a hireling.
Yeah, just have the one.
A little.
No,
when
at that point,
he's looking at the contract.
No, at this point though, you could get the really dumb hirelings that work really cheap, then paint them up, and all their abilities will go up to the minimums.
That's tremendous. I'm psyched by this. I have like so many ideas running for this. This is like the paints of Blackmore.
I'm now also envisioning what happens if you start painting children.
Oh dear.
Imagine if you paint an 8-year-old and this make them weird. I need an adult.
Yeah.
It's getting really weird.
I need an adult.
Vince, I need help.
You're on your own.
This would be a great thing. A party comes into a room. There are a bunch of like level 1, maybe level 2s, and all they see is this little toddler there. But they've been painted in this paint, so they're a 7th level fighter.
Oh my God.
Well, think of it. It could be also a way of like. Think of it this way: you could also use it maybe to keep people alive. I mean, what if you got someone there? You have someone in your party. They're like down to 1 hit point, and you're like, "Oh God, we got to do something." Okay, we got the paints. Quick, paint them red.
Quick, paint them up.
immediately 70 hit points for 24 hours. There you go.
Yeah, that's tremendous.
Yeah, not to mention your equipment turns into, like, your regular weapon would turn into a magic item for that period as well. Magical weapon.
Also, besides, like, people that are, like, at death's door or, like, at that one hit point area, like you were saying, maybe you find somebody in a dungeon and they have... How many times have you been in an adventure where you find someone in a dungeon and they're, like, shackled to a wall and they have nothing, and you got to get this person out? This would be a really good way of keeping that person relatively safe.
Yeah.
You know, paint them blue or green or whatever, and there you go.
Or you really want to stick it to your party. You just give this to the NPC. Give a set of these paints to the NPC.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, the guy's a magic user. We got him. He's done his deal, or he's a thief. And then just this guy comes out swinging, and they're like, whoa, wait. Wait a minute. And now this is a whole new... You have basically another 5 big baddies that you can throw against your PCs with one guy.
Right. And, yeah, first time they meet him, he's a magic user, but he escapes. So next time they meet him, all of a sudden he's a fighter. The next time they meet him, he's a druid. What is going on here?
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Jack of all trades.
Yeah.
These are pretty badass. I like these.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is just one of those...
Oh, and you might not get all 6 pigments either. I guess it's...
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at it, it's like the XP values, like per pot?
Right. Yeah, each pot. So you may not even get a full set. You may just find one of them.
Huh.
Too, so...
Right.
This is very... Matt, how'd you find this? Like, how'd you just came across it?
I just grabbed Greyhawk Adventures and just started flipping through the magic items.
And
I came across this, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
Yeah, this is pretty badass.
Yeah. Because
we're all thinking, this breaks so many rules.
This just craps on so much.
Because I've never heard of this before.
Yeah.
And I bet your players haven't either. This is one of those just, unless you were a big Greyhawk player, you probably haven't stumbled across. So, yeah, just so much potential with this.
As soon as you mentioned those, when you were going to do this, I'm like, oh, yeah, I know what these are. So I had to get my book, too, and I'm like, oh, yeah, these are pretty cool. They break things in so many different ways.
I now had wonder, though, what happens if you start mixing colors?
You get purples, and now you're a necromancer.
Ooh.
Yes.
Because everybody knows necromancers are purple.
Doesn't say if you mix colors, does it?
No, it doesn't. So does it just not work? Or what if you halved and halved?
That's
multi-class?
Or
DMPI.
if you're running out, you just put some water and water it down.
Well, hold on. It does say using the paints in a 24-hour period results in instant death for the user. So
using them twice.
Right.
That would be twice, maybe he's saying.
Yeah, maybe that would be considered twice. And
that's what I'm thinking.
But what if you dilute it? So instead of a level 7, you're now like a level 3.
4. Yeah.
Can you dilute it down with like some water or something?
Yeah.
Try to stretch out the pot of paint you got? Okay.
Right. Take those 5 uses, make them 10, and all of a sudden you're level 4 instead of 7, and your magic items aren't magic anymore.
It's an old cheap artist trick.
Level ones.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Or you dilute it too much and say you're level 3, you become a level 1.
Oops.
Or you go into a grade school and hand these out as finger paints. Let the kids go nuts.
Yes. All of a sudden, you now have your new party of adventurers. You have 24 hours to complete this mission. Otherwise, your doom is ensured. Go.
You show up at a grade school. And they're like, wait, what are we doing here?
Oh, this would actually be almost like an expendable type situation. You get kidnapped. You're a bunch of like farmers and stuff. The
slaps paint on
you.
The
boss is like paying you guys up. You have 24 hours to complete this message. If you don't return, you will die.
Okay, think about this. Think about how freaked out your players are going to be. You're all playing farmers and regular guys, and all of a sudden some dude shows up, and now you're in a dark room, and he's like, everyone take your clothes off. I'm going to have my manservant Hecubus paint you.
Hecubus?
Yes. So now you're like, wait, what? And then he tells you once you're painted up, you got 24 hours to get back. Otherwise, it's going to wear down and you're going to die.
Ah!
Yeah. But that would be such a great lead up.
Yeah.
That's just weird.
Yes.
Alrighty then. Cool. Just tell us what you think as we head into our next segment of Creature Feature Theater.
Are you saying that I put an abnormal brain into a 7.5-foot long gorilla?
Creature Feature Theater.
It's alive! It's alive!
So I decided I wanted to do a little creature feature thing here. Anybody who knows me knows how much I love the oozes, slimes, puddings.
I love pudding.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love pudding?
I love pudding.
So now the thing is, I started out kind of getting into them when I started making my own minis.
Yeah.
And obviously the easiest thing to make, little hot glue, little clay, that sort of deal. So started doing that, but then I started using them.
Pudding.
That gets messy. It also gets messy. But then that's when I started using them more in games. It was one of those things where they were such a simple creature and they were so effective. Because now, like the gelatinous cubes, they're
so
invisible.
Hard to kill.
All of them, pretty much all of these are hard to kill. I went and I did some research, and I went on hack/master.blogspot.com, okay, for a lot of this research, but it all ties back in to the D20 stuff, and actually, this is actually a thinly veiled disguise for my love of Jubilex.
Mm-hmm.
Because
you're a Jubilex worshiper.
I love. Actually, it's Jubilex.
Wasn't Jubilex an X-Men?
Ugh.
What?
Ugh.
Oh.
Ugh. So, anyhow,
moving on.
The list I got from online is a pretty extensive list of the different oozes, and some of the names on these are awesome. Like the Revolta stool. Right? So, yeah, you can just go 1,000 places with that. Necromantic sludge, Nightseed ooze, phase jelly, shining jelly. All of these are awesome additions to any game you wanted to use. And if you'll notice, back when they had them back in the first Monster Manual, they started, coming out with just different ones between the ochre jellies and the puddings and the oozes and the slimes. Third edition is actually, I think it might have been 3.5 was when they really kicked out with Jubilex, and he is their god, and he's got the big rivalry going on with Zugodme, who I doubt I pronounced that right, but that's the deity of the fungi.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she's the demon queen of fungus and molds and stuff like that.
And him and her they got it going back and forth. And the thing about Jubilex is that he is one of the simplest concepts to grasp. Mm-hmm. He is all about destruction, decay, and rot, and these slimes, and just go. And there's nothing else. There's absolutely nothing else you have to figure out, think up. It's just, again, it fits into that over archetype of law and chaos. This guy is just pure destruction. That's what he's there for. The simple part of this, you can go into this, you can find out all these details on them. They can be up to 15 feet, cubed size. They could fill a hallway. You couldn't see them if you were walking through and there's a gelatinous cube. The players aren't supposed to be able to see it. You see right through it unless there's something floating and digesting in it. Yeah. They can fit that 15-foot size thing can now fit through a 1-inch crack. And anybody was a fan of the Blob, you can watch the jelly come out of the vents, how creepy that was.
Yep.
And the thing about these, they're not necessarily evil. They are animalistic at the very least in some of these, and sometimes at the very best. They're animalistic, and they respond to stimulus going on in a room.
Yeah, they have black puddings and I think gray ooze. They're all neutral. They don't have it at really.
Yeah, and the gray ooze. Yeah, the gray ooze is the stuff that's all about constriction. It'll constrict you and then kill you. And going down the list, there's stuff that only eats the organic material. There's stuff that only eats the metal. There's stuff that only eats the leather. They have lists of oozes and slimes, jellies, and puddings that will pretty much dissolve anything and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the coolest things that I've never even seen that I found on this list was called the silver pudding.
Silver pudding.
Silver pudding. It is immunities are weapons. It is immune to weapons, period.
Okay.
And cold is the only thing that can get it. When you destroy it, it's toxic, and it turns into solid silver, 75%, or platinum, 25% upon its death. So now at that point, your PCs kill this thing with whatever coal they're going to use, and now they have a pile, literally, of silver and platinum, or platinum, depending on the role. So, like, to me, that's just a monster for nothing. Like, literally, a nothing monster is now something huge. So, I think if you take a little time and you want to start, one of my favorite things I started to do, if anybody's a fan of old 80s horror movies, The Stuff. Anybody ever see The Stuff?
Oh, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Now, to me, that is one of the... Anybody who's ever watched a cheesy horror movie knows the movie, but now you take this and drop this in your game where you guys are at a carnival, you're at a fair, you're at a feast or a celebration, and there are these little pots of this white marshmallowy ooze that people cannot eat enough of. And you tie this back into Jublex, and he sent this stuff out. This is there now to kind of spread it, and the people eating it start becoming more along those lines until they actually just rot from the inside.
Great! I'm never going to eat a fluffernutter ever again.
Just filled with this, this puffy marshmallowy slime, and you can extrapolate that as much as you want, and just take these things and put them anywhere because they can pretty much exist almost anywhere. If you're in a dungeon, you're in a castle, they can use these as their garbage. Basically their cleanup crew.
Yeah.
They walk around and they just move and they find things to eat. They dissolve and they clean up the place. So they actually have a natural order being an unnatural thing. So you can literally put them anywhere. Or if you have your king, your queen, whoever in charge, send your party out. We need you to get one for our castle because we do need a new one, and it needs to be they want to keep it in place, and so now you guys got to go capture it. Which good luck. But again, I think it's something that they're overlooked, and they just got to come up in 3.5, which that's still some years ago. But now I think people should start kind of coming around to using them more as dungeon dressing because they're good. I think they're an often
like
overlooked.
you said, they're the garbage. Oh, I was gonna say they're the garbage men of the dungeon, along with like rats and spiders and stuff like that. They're the ones who clean up all the dead bodies in the hallway.
There was actually I was reading something. One of the germalanes, the giant rats.
Yeah, the rat people, germalanes. Yeah.
Yeah, they excrete a substance that it repels the jellies and slimes from them.
Huh.
So in their area, they basically they would mark their territory with however they do that, and it keeps the slimes and sludges from crossing those barriers and kind of getting in their stuff.
Yeah, I always thought like like you're saying, the puddings and the slimes and stuff. They're dangerous in their own right because unless you know what you're dealing with, most of them you have to use the right attack or the right spells to destroy them.
And the fact
one that I always thought was I always thought that was so nasty is the mustard jelly. The mustard jelly. I think this was Monster Manual 2. Yeah. This one magic missiles cause it to grow.
Yeah.
I mean,
but now,
magic missiles and electrical attacks. I mean,
now,
if you see this thing, it's like, okay, magic missile, boom, 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 and you don't know what you're dealing with.
Yeah, and the fact that's the other thing. If they are silent, for the most part, all of these are silent. Some of them can cling to walls and ceilings. The movement isn't, none of them move at a rapid rate. But again, you're in a dungeon. You decide you guys are going to crash for the night, and all of a sudden, just something drops on you while you're sleeping.
Yeah.
Something that starts dissolving you or trying to crush you while, just out of nowhere. To me, I find that terrifying.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like, I get the fact that there is no, I can't bargain with it, can't reason with it sort of idea, because this thing is just a brainless stomach that wants to eat or clean or, however you want to call it.
Right.
And still, I just think it's a terrifying thing.
I got a question for you guys. I don't know how you would class them, but would mimics be almost in the same class? Because
ready for this? This is a rumor. Okay, people say that the blobs, and these all fall into a blob category.
Yeah,
they say that they are the larval stages of shape changers like mimics and doppelgangers.
No kidding.
This is not true. It's not true. Mimics and doppelgangers are actually the larval stages of the blobs.
What? It goes the other way around.
It goes the other way around. And
I'll be damned.
And again, that's a rumor. So take that for what it's that's just what people have decided to put out.
Yeah, I always when I thinking about it, like you're talking about puddings and jellies and all the blob type creatures, I always thought mimics almost fit into that category because they morph into things that you see in the dungeon, the atypical wooden chest or maybe have a mimic that looks like a door or something like that. They can morph.
On some of this info stuff, they get very into it. Like I said, this can be extrapolated down to the nth degree with this stuff. For example, I'm just going to read this real quick. The blobs are actually complicated plants, and they move just as plants do, only faster. So they go into this whole big thing about it, but like I said, you take these things, they're a simple thing, you put them in your dungeon, you put them in your castle, put them anywhere you want because they'll fit anywhere, and they're horrifying. They're horrifying little things.
Yeah.
And again, you can micromanage this to any degree you want, and you can give them any background you want. You can have them all following, Jublix, and you can have them just be animals and not following anybody. But I don't know. I'm always going to be a fan of them. And now, actually, what I'll try to do is send Vince some pictures of the stuff that I've made, and I've been experimenting with new stuff.
Well, yeah, I can't wait to see the link to that in the show notes. It sounds like an awesome site. Yeah, I want to check that out as soon as possible.
I don't want to see anything you're experimenting with, Sal.
Oh, wait till I send you the pictures.
It's gross.
I never really thought much about oozes and slimes and puddings and such. I have encountered my share of them, but I always felt like there was somebody in the party who knew what to do. It's a black pudding. We have to hit it, or we can't hit it. And I can never remember which one it was.
Yeah, that's what I meant earlier. It's like if you don't know what flavor of pudding you're dealing with.
and here's the thing. Again, just like a troll, everybody sees a troll and they're like, "Oh, we got to finish it with fire and acid."
Yeah.
If you're a DM, you just say, "Are you sure you know that?"
Yeah.
How do you know? How do you know what a black pudding is?
Right.
You've never been here before. You've never been to this area.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's a simple creature, but it can really just screw your whole party up. And then to find out there's some sort of a conspiracy or some sort of a lead in from some sort of a crazy jelly-loving god, that's even worse.
Yeah.
A pudding cabal trying to take over the world.
The great pudding and jello cabal.
See, you saying that is terrifying yet ridiculous at the same time.
Yes.
Yes.
And you talk about Jublix, you know what? You could even tie that into the Cthulhu mythos too.
That's my other point. They are reminiscent to me of Shoggoths.
Yeah.
I love Shoggoths.
Shoggoths are like the granddaddy of the slimy things.
And if you think about it, Shoggoths are slaves, and they're meant to clean.
Yeah.
So you can really tie it all in if you like I said, you can extrapolate this out. You can pull it out, and you can tie this all into anything you want to. And if you want to do some sort of a Shoggoth thing where that's the end monster, go right ahead. But any of these can actually be beefed up to become an end monster, boss fight sort of deal if you want to.
I remember when we were talking about the Deities and Demigods book, you look at the Shoggoth, how many hit dice that thing has. It's like, what is it, like 18, 20 hit dice, something crazy amount?
Look at it now, too. Look at the first edition D&D stuff of anything, and then look at the updates as it's gotten, the power creep on everything.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at, for slimes, even and in Shoggoths, they've become these indestructible tanks that even using magic is resistant. It's magic resistant to some, and ice, does half, or fire does half, that sort of thing. So, yeah, but definitely get a look into it, and I think everybody just start paying some respect to the slimes, oozes, jellies, and that sort of thing, all right?
All right.
Yeah.
All right, everybody? Right. Everybody with me on this?
Respect the slime.
Respect the slime. That's all I'm saying. I think it's time to move on to our next thing.
We're all going to make some room for some pudding.
All right. So let's head into our last segment of Sage Advice.
Master! They're at the gates again! Master! It looks like another band of adventurers!
Adventurers again? Always the same. Coming to me for sage advice.
All right, we're in Sage Advice, our last segment of the night. If you want to send in a voicemail, 570-865-4210. That is our hotline where goblins are standing by now.
The hotline.
That's right.
The hotline.
The hotline.
Okay, enough, guys.
Goblins are standing by.
Sunday. Anyway. So, yeah, and rfistaff@gmail.com if you'd like to write into us. We do have a voicemail tonight.
Oh, yes.
Following up on our strange voicemail from 2 weeks ago.
Oh, jeez.
So let me just
That
cue
was
up.
I've been waiting for a follow-up because that is an awesome, amazing voicemail.
Anyway, so here's our voicemail. If you guys just kind of keep quiet for a little bit, and we'll hit it for you. So hold on.
Yes, this is an email for RFI. How dare you? This is the devil. After listening to your last show about the satanic panic, I find it absolutely insulting. I demand equal time. Gygax never, ever gave me a dime. If he was involved, I never saw anything from any of those modules or campaigns that caused all these people to worship me, apparently. I never got anything. I find this whole thing just absolutely insulting. And the fact that you and your little group of people sit down in your high horses and you judge me and you tell them how evil these people are, I find it ridiculous. All these stay-at-home moms, nothing better to do than come bug the devil. It's absolutely just terrible. I'm insulted, actually. It hurts my feelings. You people, bunch of jerk faces, I hate you. You guys suck.
Okay.
Okay, I just want to say that he started off by saying this is an email. Actually, it's a voicemail.
Yes.
Well,
shows you how much Satan knows.
Yeah, he's kind of technologically behind the times, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, whomever the fan out there that keeps doing this,
whoever they are, I appreciate you.
Yes, bravo.
Yeah, you're kind of awesome.
Hey, if he wants to demand equal time, sure, we'll give him equal time on the show.
Please, devil, come back to the show. We'll have you.
Definitely.
Okay.
Anybody have any comments other than that?
I'm surprised we didn't get dinged on it.
Yeah, I got
calling
nothing.
the devil to the show.
Well, why would we get dinged on it?
Huh?
Why would we get dinged on it?
Because HR thinks it's a good PR move.
And you just invited the devil on the show.
I don't know, Matt. You're the representative for the higher ups. What do you have to say about that?
I personally think we should give equal time. We are all about being fair here because we know all of our games should be fair. So perhaps we should give some equal time because.
Oh, jeez.
Well, I guess they're answering us since we called them out.
Yeah. And I quote. Yes, we here at Wild Games Productions do believe in equality and fairness, and that even includes the great Lord and Master Satan.
Wait.
You see?
Great Lord.
Hold on a second. Whoa. Great Lord and Master?
Yeah, I knew there was something
that tells you
about
everything
this.
right there, don't it? Yeah.
So the people, the higher ups of this company have decided they're now worshiping Satan.
That's what I heard.
They always have.
It answers so much.
Yeah, it puts it in perspective.
They do believe in fairness, and he deserves his equal time. So maybe we should discuss some of his minions at some point.
Yes. I knew there was something fishy about HR.
Uh-oh.
They worship the devil. I knew it.
Nick, calm down.
Nick, there's nothing wrong with worshiping the devil, Nick.
No.
Well, of course. Okay.
Here we go.
And I quote, DM Nick.
Oh, dear.
We support all religious beliefs here, be it anything. Be it should you choose to worship the Norse gods or anything else out of demigods and deities. All of those are considered acceptable, so please do not mock or mimic or insult anyone for any beliefs they may have. Please report to HR after the show.
Oh!
There it is.
Nick, that's like twice in a month, dude.
I know. I don't think I can handle much more.
Well, just go take your beating.
I wish it was a beating.
Anyway, our first email comes in from Sam. He is basically it's a long email, so I'll just kind of sum it up for those out there, like Eric Tankar, who can't stand people reading emails. He's just. Eric's gonna kill me. He's listening through the archives. He just got through Volume 1, Issue number 3, and decided to send a comment in. Oh. And his comment, I'm going to sum it up here. It's talking about alignments and how he doesn't assign an alignment to a character until their third level. He feels it gives them a chance for the character to develop along the way, and then they won't get any penalties for, straying away from their alignment while they're exploring their character. Now, of course, he's saying it doesn't work for all classes, such as paladins and clerics, but for the most place, it does work, and he's rolling with that. So what do you guys think about that idea?
That's really actually kind of a good idea.
Yeah.
Balderdash.
I like the idea of character development, of growing into a character. That's my biggest hack on 4th edition, is that it seems like the characters start out at 3rd level.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I want to see a character grow, and if he's going to be developing his beliefs at the same time he's developing his capabilities, then I think that's a fine idea.
I can see what they're... Yeah, like what he did say, there are some exceptions, like, paladins and rangers and what have you. So I can probably see that.
Well, obviously, because think about it, like when I've been hitting the head a lot, so I don't now.
Wrestling.
Yeah.
Were we talking about this one where you start out the game? You start out as a farmer, right?
Mm-hmm.
I guess that was. What are you talking about?
Or even
you want to be a hero. So, but like I was saying, like you start out the game as a farmer and you have all these wild ideas of what heroes do, and then you come down to it where now your alignment is going to start changing because maybe now you're going to be money driven, or I need money to buy weapons, to buy armor, to protect myself, to keep doing the right thing. So now to me that makes it a lot more organic, where you can actually develop that character. That is a brilliant idea. I applaud him.
And you know what? There is something that's built into it. And when Matt was using Greyhawk Adventures, at the very back of that book, there is 0 level characters and how you can develop them and see what path they're going to go down as far as not only a class, but I think you could tie alignment into that too. So there's maybe a mechanic for that.
Yeah. And also just think about how many times have you made a character and you had a concept for the character and their personality, but as you actually play them, that concept shifts and the motivation shift, and giving you that first 3 levels to let that transition shift happen without having like in-game penalties, I think actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
it does. It does.
Yeah, I've always thought that alignment should be given by the DM or the other players. That you do whatever you want to do, whatever you think you're supposed to be doing, and then everybody's going to say, by the way you're doing that is totally chaotic evil. And rather than I think what I am, you are what you do, not what you say.
Yep.
He basically, in his email, says that he assigns the alignment based upon how he keeps like a tracker, like we went over a long time ago. The one we had in the Dragonlance book, I believe, has one.
Yeah.
He uses something similar to that, I'm sure.
Hackmaster 4th edition had that too. There's an alignment tracker. I think they actually lifted that from the Dragonlance stuff.
I'm sure they probably did. All right, and thank you, Sam. Our last email comes from Angelic Doctor, who is saying he was referencing the last show, the roundtable show that I did with Eric Tankar and Tim Brennan, about people charging for their games.
Oh.
Yeah. He doesn't begrudge anyone for trying to...
I listened to that.
And? Okay, thanks, Nick. Great input.
I'll get it next time.
Get it next time, Nick. Okay. He said he doesn't begrudge anyone for trying to capitalize or make an input in their game and make any profit on their games. In fact, he admires those brave souls because the books charge upwards of $60 these days. So, whatever. On the other hand, he said if you only spent $6 for 4 hours of learning and playing a new game, discover you do not care for it, then you've only lost $6, which is equivalent to a New York dinner. No, it is not. It is far from six.
What corner card are you eating, that kid?
That $6 can get you maybe one of them dirty dogs.
Yeah. So, wow.
Yes.
Let me ask. So, Jeff, let me ask you a question. So, somebody at a local gaming store by you decides he is going to run battleships. Okay.
Battle stations.
Battle stations. Apologize.
No worries.
So he's going to run battle stations, and he is going to charge to run this game. What is your I used your thing just so you have a connection to it. What would you think of that? If he said, hey, I want to run, but I'm going to charge people so I can run the game.
If that's what he wants to do and people want to pay to play in it, then that's fine. That's fine by me. I mean, I because I have such a vested interest in it, I run it and I go to conventions and I run it wherever I can for as free as I can. I don't charge people an admission to play in my games, but people pay hundreds or thousands of dollars to get to conventions and pay for tickets at the conventions. Right. So in that sense, it's not free. And of course, every time somebody plays battle stations, it sort of makes its way back to me in the form of my game getting bigger and more profit. So there's no such thing as a free game to me, because every time somebody plays, I'm benefiting.
Well, what about if said referee of a game is the only one in the area playing your game, and then there's a couple people that are really interested in playing it, but he's just like, sorry, you have to pay my fee of $6 to learn how to play this game or enjoy this game.
Well, I would have to pay $6 to that guy if I wanted him to walk my dog. But if I want to walk my own dog or learn how to walk dogs from somebody else, I could do that otherwise. I mean, if my game is so complicated that you need some licensed guru to teach it, then I've done something wrong.
Well, okay, that's okay. The trail end is exactly what my point was of some of these guys. Like, I obviously am against DMs charging for their time in certain cases. Okay, if I say to you, hey, I'm running Pennsylvania Con, Jeff, I want you to come out. I'm going to fly you out to show me Battle Stations 2.
Right.
And I want you to run this whole group of people. That's fine. I'm paying you for your time to come out here, pay for your flight. That's what I'm getting you out here to do.
Yeah.
That's great. That was just an example, right? You're not actually inviting me because I'm ready to jump on a plane.
That's just an example, man. I don't have a con yet.
Okay.
I eventually would like to have a con at some point in Pennsylvania, but
there's multiple.
Vince, stick with me.
Okay.
So when to do that, that's different. Okay, you're trying to promote the game. We're trying to get people involved in it. Terrific. You made the friggin' game. You're Jeff, and you're the guy who made the game. So it means something that you're there.
Yeah.
Right.
And when if a little nuance comes up and you go, well, here's the thing, guys. I find I run the game runs better this way, and everybody goes, "Ooh, wow, man, that's cool. Oh, great. Now that's not in the rule book, but now we know because the guy who made the game told us."
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Now, Joe Schmuck gets up and is like, "Well, I'm going to run at the local game store. I just got Battle Stations 2, so I'm going to run that game. You guys, my time is valuable, so from 6 to 9, you guys are going to pay $6 a pop to come sit with me and play Battle Stations."
Yeah,
Okay.
Joe Schmuckatelli. I was just thinking that.
Right, and I have no vested interest in playing with Joe Schmuckatelli, only for the simple reason, what am I going to give him the money for? Why can't we just all sit down and play?
Exactly.
You were going to be at that game store anyway, you hump. Like, you know what I mean? Like, to me, that's just somebody who's a little too cocky. Now, if you're going to run a game and you say, well, I wrote a campaign, guys. For the last 4 years of my life, I wrote a campaign, and I'm going to run it, and I only want certain people to be in it. Okay, fair enough. Then that's your private group.
Yeah.
If you sit down and say, well, guys, my game's not published. I wrote this game for the past 4 years of my life. I want to run you guys in it. $6. Hand it over. No.
No.
Absolutely not. Like, if you want to share that, great. That's really cool of you that you took your time and energy, and I'm with you on it. But then if you want to get it published, I'm with you on that too, man. Go get that crap published. Good for you, brother. You did that. You wrote your game and you got it going. Good for you, man. I'll high five that guy and tell him, who you should talk to? You should talk to Jeff at Guerrilla Games because he also publishes games.
He's been down that road.
You should talk to him. Yeah. Right, exactly. But to turn around and tell me I got to pay you for your time because you're that amazing of a DM, I got something you could suck on. That's all I'm going to say. I didn't say it. I just said you could. So,
well, I have to disagree with you. I think that if somebody wants to charge money to do something that is free otherwise and it's perfectly legal and everybody's consenting, then they're welcome to charge money. I'm not likely to pay $6 to be in somebody's game. But if they want to do that, and if that's a model that works for them and works for their players, then go ahead and do it. I mean, if you could get, when I was at DundraCon in the '80s, there was Dave Hargrave was there running of the Arduin Grimoire, and he was running a game, and I couldn't get into the game, and I know that if I had the chance to pay $6 to play in his game, I'd pay $600 to play in his game because he was an amazing influence at that time on role playing.
That's also a convention, though, so it's expected to be.
Exactly, and he is somebody of note. If somebody would say to me, you could play in a Gary Gygax game in the 80s. Yeah, okay, right. Different. That's a different story, man. Yeah. That would be, oh my God.
Okay, you're right. That's a bad argument. How about this instead? If there is just somebody who is a nobody, who happens to be a really great DM, and this guy spends all day picking up cans by the side of the road to make his rent, and he were to say, you know what, I'd love to run for you, but I just can't pay my rent. And but if you can get 10 guys together and they pay $6 each, that's going to get me more money than I would get for the cans, and I would be happy.
I would probably tell
I'm with you on this.
I would probably tell that guy, well, maybe you should be focusing on getting a job instead of writing D&D games.
Oh, hang on. I'm not even. My problem is most of the people who are charging for the games
have full-time jobs.
Are trumped up a-holes.
Sal's passion today.
Only because you know what?
I know where Sal's coming from on this.
Just for the simple reason, the guys who are amazing DMs. They're not going to be like, I'm an amazing DM. They don't care about that. They're not into that. That's not their thing. Right. They don't have the attitudes. The attitudes coming from these jagoffs who are like, I'm going to charge you for the privilege to sit with me. And ready for this? And I may sound silly saying this, but if they were to turn around and say, we're going to have a weekly game. I'm charging everyone at the table $6 for pizza. We'll order pizza.
Okay.
And if you told me that, I'd go, you know what? I'll contribute to that. Okay, because everybody's going to sit down and everybody's going to have pizza at the table or whatever else. Fine. But if this guy were to turn around and just go, the $6 is strictly for me, for my time, because I'm a valuable DM.
You're talking about guys, and I've heard this. This has happened in the past few years. They're actually billing themselves as professional DMs or professional game masters. I'm like, what?
Then they actually used the example of, well, there are guys who are self-taught on a computer. They teach themselves Linux and all these. I said, they have a degree and they paid money to go to college, or they paid money for a course. They have a degree they can hold up and show me. Where's your degree, dummy? Right. There is no degree. It's a game.
Yeah, just to give an example of a game that was run at a local store here. A while back, Tim Kask was running OD&D games at a local game store. You know how much he charged to play? Nothing.
Exactly.
Nothing at all. You couldn't tell me he couldn't charge like $5 a seat to play with him.
Easily.
Yeah. But he didn't, because he was just doing it because he wants, for the love of the game, he wants to play the games.
And but I'm not going to be a hippie and be like, oh, love of the game, because I know that's not everybody's shtick. But at the same point, at the same point of that, the only people I'm hearing complaining that we're not getting paid enough as a DM are the jagoffs with the bad attitudes.
Right.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
So how about we liken this to pickup basketball? If you wanted to go down with your buddies and play some pickup basketball, that's fine. And if there's somebody who said, hey, if you pay me, each of you guys pay me $6, I'll play with you.
Yep.
Then you would say to that guy, oh, okay, thanks anyway. But no.
Right, yeah. And I think it comes down to the point of, like you said earlier, as long as it's legal and everybody agrees on it and they're willing to pay, cool. But then don't be, at the same point on the other side of that, don't be surprised when somebody's like, you're a friggin' tool. You're out of your mind.
You know what? It's funny, when we're talking about this, there was, how many of you guys, read Knights of the Dinner Table and been
love
followed?
it. I absolutely love that.
Great.
You probably know where I'm going with this. There's a character, Bob Herzog, where Bob tried to bill himself as a professional player. He tried to make himself he would put out there in Muncie, Indiana, he was putting ads and I'm a professional player, you hire me and all this stuff and I'll be in your game. I'm like, that would be, I'm like, the Bob Herzogs of the world are trying to do this,
And it's the ridiculousness of it is why it's so funny, because you're like, as funny as that is, you realize that is only a comic because it's that ridiculous.
Yeah.
And now there are guys legitimately trying to make this happen and they're all very vocal about how great they are. And the immediate flag of, it's the same thing, like a martial artist, the first guy who says, oh, dude, I can totally kick your ass because I know Taekwondo. Terrific.
Yeah.
You're the first guy I'm going to punch in the face. You know what I mean? It's like the good guys don't have to tell everybody how good they are. Their reputation kicks out and everybody knows.
I don't know. I would personally, if I saw those ads at a gaming store, purposely make a game up during the same time and say, new players welcome, free.
Yeah, I just when Sal was talking about it, I heard this is a lot of the stuff that's going around out there on the internet. Some of these
there's tons of these jerks with these websites. Oh, I could teach you to be a great dungeon master. You have to pay me $25 a month, and I'll give you lessons.
$25 a month?
That's just a random price. I don't know what. I've seen many of these websites, and I'm not talking about selling a book. A book is a different story.
I was like, remember back in the day when they just charge you $25 for their book?
If you want to sell a dummy's guide, how to do this book, how to do that book, fine. It's understandable. That's part of being an author and a writer. Yeah.
You put work into it, right?
But some jagoff that's doing, I have my classes and I'm going to be a dungeon master and I'm going to show you, and take advantage of these new kids to the hobby, or even people who've never picked up the hobby and they're in their late 40s, 50s. Oh, I'm going to go with this guy because he's got 5-star rating from 5 morons that paid him.
Right.
Sorry, no. Take down the website. Anonymous style.
I was so sad I missed that roundtable discussion. I was really...
Yeah, I remember listening to that show. I'm like, wow, that was good.
Well, Sal, next time you'll learn to put shelves up better.
Oh, my God. Don't even start with me on it. I swear to God.
All right, so that's going to conclude the show of this week. If you want to write us...
Who was the guy who wrote that email?
Angelic Doctor.
I know. I've seen him before. He's a really good guy. He has a lot of good emails.
Yes.
But you're wrong.
Well, there you have it. That was an official Sal decree. It wasn't royal, though, because he's not royal.
And no call from HR. Oh.
Well, we didn't do anything wrong, so be quiet.
I know, I'm just saying.
Just because you're going to HR.
Yeah, don't bring us down with you.
The pain.
Yeah. So, rfistaff@gmail.com, 570-865-4210, the hotline. Roll for Initiative can be found on Facebook, G+. We do have a Twitter. It's mostly for just show announcements. You could follow myself, The Evil DM, on Twitter. And, Jeff, did you have a Kickstarter you wanted to plug before the end of the show?
As a matter of fact, Battle Station 2nd Edition is up on Kickstarter right now at tinyurl.com/heroic adventure. And it's the game about flying a starship in space. It's a cooperative role-playing / board game hybrid, and it's pretty awesome. And if you haven't seen it yet, it's because my marketing guy is worse than your HR guy.
Oh no. HR's going to be mad at that one. No, there's no beat on that one. We're getting out of here. We're going to say keep it original, keep it old school, and good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
The Roll for Initiative podcast is a production of Wild Games Productions in association with D20Radio.com. You can visit us at rfipodcast.com or contact us on our forums at osrgaming.org or even by calling us at 570-865-4210. This podcast is produced for entertainment purposes only. All other uses are prohibited. And remember, if your magic missile spell doesn't automatically hit, you're playing the wrong edition. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Roll for Initiative.